Welcome to those who are here live and those who are watching the recording. Thank you for watching the recording. As I said, we're here Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. PST doing these sessions, talking about tactics, strategies, and structure, and also trying to help you to maximize your opportunity to generate better results for your business. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to go into my screen and I'm going to go up here. And we're just going to talk about some fundamental stuff. So let's hit the play button. So essentially the cornerstone of marketing for every business is essentially your website and the strategy you have around the website. And so what do I mean by this? Like I said, in the early days, it was about having something up online. Then it got to be about design. Then it got to be about functionality. Then it got to be about being clever with the different impact that you can have to create attention. And then we veered away from that website idea. And then we went into things like landing pages and sales funnels. When lead pages came along, Unbounce, Instapage, all those pages, they essentially took away the necessity for a website, but to actually offer a core offer into the marketplace to engage a customer based on a desired outcome that the client's looking for. So we set them up as funnels rather than websites, and our pages became stages of the sales process. Now, we still need a platform or a place where we hold our brand, we communicate our messages, and we have our people come back to. That's really important. That's not to say that websites are old hat. In fact, I think they're more important than ever before. The tactics of lead generation, building landing pages and things like that, you can build those into the functionality of your website. You want to have one home for your product. I've seen people build multiple websites for multiple product categories, but if you look at the bigger players in the market, or you look at the people who are building a brand, they kind of like to have all their brand in one house. And so the idea, or what I'm trying to share with you, is to perhaps think a little bit differently around your website and why it's really important. So a couple of things. Number one priority, you need to be found, right? If you're not visible in the marketplace right now, especially in the fact that we're opening up our businesses, we're coming out of lockdown in this time of you watching this video, we're seeing lots of businesses that aren't coming back. And some businesses have transitioned from being face-to-face to actually dealing online, which means that a lot of websites right now are actually wrong. In fact, more than 90% of websites right now aren't actually conveying the right message in a lot of ways. We have things like, how are you considering the safety of your clients? Where is the education, or where is the connection to that on your websites? How are you doing business differently right now? Is that reflective of how people are finding and engaging you right now? That's important to take into consideration as well. Are you making it easy for people to buy? Are you putting up new products, new offers that you haven't actually placed on your current website? All of these things change the dynamic of how you are perceived and how you position yourself online in the marketplace. So one of the things that you want to take into consideration, and I've often said this, is this has become the most powerful marketing tool on the planet. Your cellular phone, right? It is the #1 sales tool that you have available to you right now. And your clients and your customers are interacting with it 24/7. People are searching on Google. They are watching their videos, they're watching live streaming, they are engaging in their social networks and social media, they are directly making purchasing decisions, they are looking at things that they're interested in, and they're using this handheld device as the most powerful computer in the world. The key here, and I guess the idea is how do we put your business in the palm of your customers' hands? And that's really the crux of what's important right now in terms of how we communicate effectively and how we have a site that actually makes it easy for people to buy. So some of the things, what is your marketing strategy when it comes to being accessible online? So what is the strategy? The strategy has to encompass all aspects of how you acquire customers, how you nurture relationships online, how you actually help convert clients by taking them through a sales process like a sales funnel for your product or service. How do you actually deliver your services? How do you articulate that delivery? And more importantly, how do you retain? How do you resell? How do you upsell your clients? All of it stems to how do you do this online right now, because this is what people are doing. They're looking for you with this device right now. And that's looking a bit funny there on the screen as I'm showing this to you. So understand that if we don't have a strategy, then what we're doing is it's like aiming without shooting, right? We're sort of aiming there and we're going to wildly let go of an arrow, right? And hope that it hits or it lands somewhere. That's most people's strategy when it comes to being online. So your website is your shopfront window to the market. And whatever your website looks like is going to be a direct perception that people have of your business. And let me tell you, most websites look terrible. And in fact, most websites look terrible on a mobile device. They look terrible on a mobile device. And so if this is the case, we are in an economy where we make decisions very quickly. We are either going to swipe right or we're going to swipe left. And what we want people to do is we want them to swipe left and stay with us rather than just moving on to the next person. This is the behavior of people right now when it comes to your website. So next, how do you make it easy for customers to buy or do business with you online? How does your site right now walk people through what they need to do to be able to engage with you in the marketplace? What is the process? If you have a brochure style website where you say, hey, here we are, and then you have navigation and people have actually got to go and search and find your navigation. If you don't make things available to people that are necessary and what they're looking at, then what's going to happen is they don't have time. They're just going to swipe right. The idea is that you want to make it easy for clients to buy. You want to give them direction as to what you want them to do when they come to your website. Next, are people getting the right information when they visit any page on your site? So think about what a lot of people tend to do is they put pages up and they put too many things on that page. The idea is if they're looking for a specific thing, then the only thing you want to talk about is the thing that they're looking for. And if you're thinking about when you're designing or when you're creating your communication, even a landing page, you need to think about what their journey is. What are the questions that they've got in their mind? How do you make it easy for them to give them exactly what they're looking for? And that's the way that you want to think about your strategy when it comes to developing a website. Most businesses don't understand this because they think, hey, it's just a website, right? But when you put people in the shoes of the customer and start explaining to them so they experience what it's like to be a customer to their business, they very quickly start to see where they've made some mistakes or where they actually need to make changes. So one of the things you want to understand is the more you understand the functionality of helping people to get what they want when they're looking at what they're looking at, the more favorable, the easier it is, or the better the action, or the better the strategy is to drive the person to the next action, and that is to purchase or invest or to make time for your product or service in the marketplace. So next thing, it's important. It's really important. What is your strategy? It is the cornerstone of your marketing. It is ever evolving. Most people underspend on their websites. In fact, I know you can buy websites for $500 online. In fact, if you really wanted to go to Marketplace, you can buy a website for $40 or $30, or you can get a free website. You can use website browser services like Wix and all those sorts of things. The problem is that most of these websites, they have no strategy. There's no real core functionality other than to just place a placard out there in the ether that nobody can find. Because at the end of the day, with a website, we also need to optimize that site to be actually found on the search platforms, on Google and on Bing, right? We need to be found online. If we're not found online, then it's important, we can have the best website in the world, right? But if we don't have a strategy attached to that site and we don't add value, or we don't look at the value proposition that site has to us, then we're going to miss out on opportunities. Next, how do we make it visible, right? How do we make sure we make it visible? You need to do things like SEO. We need to look at on-page optimization, off-page optimization. You need to look at the analytics. You need to look at site speed, upload speeds. You've got to look at the information that you're putting out there, right? And more importantly, you've got to be advertising. Everywhere that you go, every email that you send needs to drive people back to certain elements of what you do so they can connect with your product or service out in the marketplace. You need to be running ads in the marketplace. Right now, if you're not advertising, you don't exist. If you don't have a Google Services local ad, or if you don't have an AdWords ad running right now for your product or service, if you're not actually optimizing for Google My Business on the first page of Google, you are invisible. And if you're invisible and somebody's looking for your service, they're finding your competitor instead of finding you. So these are some of the things that you want to take into consideration when you're talking about making yourself visible. So not only do you want to make yourself visible to your clients, you want to make yourself visible to people who are looking for your product or service. You want to make sure that your site is in front of that traffic stream. Whether that be on the social media platforms, and also you need to think, hey, how do customers engage with what we do, and how do we drive them back to our platform, our branding, our messaging? So how do we make ourselves visible? Next, how do we make it easier for people to engage? right? If we have too many pieces of information, or we're asking people to do too many things on a website, or we don't make it easy for them to take the next step and thinking of a buyer's journey, right? Then what we do is we make it hard for them. And if we're making it difficult for them, they'll just make another choice. So how do we make it easy, right, for people to choose? How do we make it easy for people to engage? What is the navigation? What is the functionality that we need to make sure that we're opening the door to a better connection and a better engagement? So next, are you giving people clear action steps to follow? I'm going to walk you through 5 clear action steps in just a moment, but most people don't. Most people, oftentimes when I've gone to websites and I've tried to find where businesses are, I have to go and look for a contact us page. And even on a contact us page, sometimes there's no phone number. There's a form that I have to fill out, and there's no help on, help with questions that I should be asking. I just literally have to, they're not making it easy for me. I have to do all the work. And so if you don't make it easy for me to engage, if you want me to do something, then I'm walking, or actually I'm viewing somewhere else. So some things you want to take into consideration is you want to make sure what you focus on, or what you're asking people to do, you make it very clear the action steps you want them to take. Otherwise, it just ain't going to work. So one of the things I will show you is those 5 core action steps. One action, one page. So again, this goes back to, are you helping people make a decision? You only give them one action, one page. You don't put several, you don't put a lead magnet and a phone number and a form to fill out. And you don't put all of those things in one place. If you do that, you're going to confuse the customer. You got to think is, how is my customer wanting to engage with me? What is the process? If it's pick up the phone, then tell them to pick up the phone. If it's fill in a form, give me some more information, then fill in a form, give me information. But what you want to do is per page is to have one action. You got to think about when they land on this page, what do you want them to do? If you want them to watch the video, then you need to tell them to watch the video. If you want them to be directed to a piece of copy, then direct them to a piece of copy. So what is the page there for? What is it designed to do to help the customer? How do you help the customer? One action, one page, right? So there are 5 core actions. We've mentioned a couple. I want to walk through the 5 core actions. The 5 core actions are very, very simple. Number 1, call me now. If you want customers to call you, then what you want to do is don't just put the call. What most people do is they put the phone number in the top left-hand corner, right? They put in the top right-hand corner. The problem with that is sometimes that phone number is so small that it's not really visible. It's not very clear. It's actually very difficult to read. And if that number has been embedded in the actual image, then they can't click to call it. So that phone number needs to be dynamic. But if you want somebody to call, front and center, call this number now, or click this button to call this number. And then you can share some more information. Say, hey, to get there faster, click this button, call now. And if you want more information, hey, by the way, call this button. You might ask a person to call you 4 or 5 times on the page, because that's what you want them to do to be able to help them. To get the help you need, the fastest way to do that is have one of our people help you. Call the phone number right now. Here's what most people do is they call this number and get this help right now. And you ask people 4 or 5 times on the page to call you, right? Now, for some businesses, they don't want people to call them. They want people to fill in a form, fill in a form of information so I can help you, right? Fill in a form, information so I can help you, right? So here's the thing. You might be a contractor and you might need to know you might need to know location, you might need to know sizing or spacing, you might need to know what people are considering. Give me some information, I can get you a quote. So you're going to ask people to generate a quote, then you ask people to fill in a form to generate a quote. Quote now, free quote now. You want a quote? Most people, they put this on their page once. If you want a quote, or if you want people to engage with you with a quote or an RFP, or request for proposal, then tell them 4 or 5 times. Make it easy for them, because if you tell them what you want them to do and you tell them over and over again, then they're going to do exactly what you tell them to do. Number 3, give me your details and download my offer. So some people, you want people to get on your list and you want to start to build a relationship. So you have a sequence of a campaign that you're nurturing a relationship with. So then you want to make sure whatever offer it is that you want them to engage is front and center so they can engage with the offer. And so then you're going to say, hey, grab this offer here, grab this free training, grab this lead magnet, grab this incentive, download this voucher. You're actually asking for some information, give you some details, so they jump into your list, and now you have the opportunity to build a relationship. One thing I will say, and this is something you've got to be also mindful of, if you're running ad campaigns, one of the dangers is think about how a customer behaves. If you're providing a service and the person sees your ad and they need your service, they kind of want to be able to engage you straight away. And so rather than filling in a form, they might want to pick up a call. And so this way, from an advertising or a marketing point of view, you might be able to actually improve or increase your conversion rates by actually changing the strategy in a way that the customer makes a buying decision. I've seen some of my friends and colleagues who play big numbers in the advertising game where they've changed the call to action or the core action on the page from fill in a form to pick up the phone, and the conversion rate's gone up by 70%, purely because it's how the customer behaves is how they're going to engage. So if it's not pick up a call and I need information, then the opposite works, right? So understand that you can dramatically improve engagement by making sure that whatever call to action you have on your site is related to the core action that they need to take on for their business as well, right? So give me details, download my offer. The next one, buy my product now. If you want somebody to buy your product, buy now. Big button, buy it here, right? And you might ask that person 4 or 5 times, and you might say, hey, here's the product you can buy now. Hey, here's a review, or here's a walkthrough or a demonstration of the product. Buy now, right? Big buy now button underneath the video. The next thing, if you want the person to buy now, say, hey, frequently asked questions. Once you're ready, buy now. So you're asking that person to buy 4 or 5 times on the one page, because that is the action you want them to do. You want them to buy, and you want to make it so easy and so visible for them to do that, right? Next one is use this platform as a resource for youth. Let me just change that for your business, right? So let me just kill that part. In the middle of a presentation, we're just going to do some slide change, right? So use the platform as a resource, right? So here's the thing. Some of us, some businesses provide relevant information, guides, resources, so they turn their site into a place where people come back to and draw from, right? Or they build a community within their site, right? So they can give people login and access and that sort of stuff. So maybe say, hey, if you want to become a VIP member and have your own private login area so we can give you the best quotes or the best value, put that, make sure you sign up for our VIP program and log in over here. And you can get points and you can get rewards and you can get, so you can turn your platform or your website into a resource for people to use. So the 5 core functions are call me now, fill in a form, information so I can help you, give me your details, download my offer, buy my product now, use this platform as a resource. If you think about the filters, if you place some of the filters of what I just talked about, think about it. Do they make it easy for the people to buy? Is it navigatable or simply navigatable on the mobile phone, right? Can they do that, right? Look at ways of maximizing your opportunity to engage a customer, and then what is the core strategy of a website? What are you building? What are you doing? What is this thing that you're putting in the marketplace, and why is this so important? If you're doing AdWords, running an AdWords campaign to an ineffective website will dramatically change conversion rates. It'll actually increase the cost of ad spend. It's the same with Facebook ads. If we're running Facebook ads to an unoptimized website, right, then we're going to run into issues where it's going to cost more. So most people don't understand that you need to think about the strategy all the way through, from what are they doing here? What do we want them to do here? How do we help them, or how do we make it easy for them to engage as part of our process? So the core functions this is why it's a shop front window to the world. This is why it's our platform, right? Our real estate. And for some businesses, that real estate is worth millions and millions of dollars in sales. And in some businesses, tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands. One of the questions I often ask business owners is, if you were to think of a percentage of how much revenue you generate from your website, what do you think that percentage would be? And most people, rudimentally say, well, I don't know. But if you were to think about it, right, how much money or how much revenue you think your website would generate? Oftentimes I hear a figure of like 5% or 10% of revenue. So my next question is, roughly how much does that equate to in cash to your business approximately, right? So if they're $1 million business and they say we get $100,000 or 10% of revenue from our website, that's $100 grand from a website, right? That's cash, right? That's roughly getting $8,000 a month from your website, right? $9,000 a month from your website, right? So if we're getting that much money from our website, how much do we invest in our site? What is the strategy we're using to get 100 grand? What if we could actually double that conversion rate? What if we double the revenue that you generate? Maybe by using a strategic approach rather than just putting up a website brochure into the marketplace. So one of the things that you want to take into consideration is imagine layering this on your own landing pages and on your own website. What are you making it easy for people to self-select? Are you making it easy to navigate through what you offer in the marketplace? Are you asking the core questions for people to engage you for your products and services in the marketplace? If the answer is no, then you've got some adjustments that you need to make. But think about it. If you're generating leads for somebody and you're driving leads to an ineffective website, they need to change that site. And right now, 85 to 90% of all websites are wrong. They're wrong. They're not educating people about how they're keeping customers safe. They're not letting customers know how they're doing business differently. They're not putting up their new offers to see what, anything that they're pivoting, anything that they're launching. They haven't changed that. That's why 90% of websites right now are ineffective. And this is why those sites, those companies right now that are making changes, that are making it easy for people to choose them as opposed to a competitor in the marketplace. So we are holding a website sales intensive, which is a web event for good. It's happening on Thursday, the 18th of June at 9 a.m. PST. It is a 4-hour masterclass on how you can actually generate clients by engaging or showing them how they can build a site as part of a strategy. If you're a Facebook advertiser, a AdWords advertiser, Instagram advertiser, if you are an SEO person, or you are a web development team, then I would highly encourage you to join this session. It's going to show you how to walk through using a really cool tool to open up the door to getting clients very quickly on how you can change their platforms, but more importantly, to get them to focus on their marketing online. So this is a 4-hour masterclass. All the recordings, all the slides are provided to you as part of the event. It is a $97 event, $97 ticket. The ticket is a ticket for good. We are actually providing funds to sustainable projects around the world for this event. Your $97 is going to help 3 families have plumbed water, fresh water into their homes that they've never had before. The other thing is we're actually, this ticket pays for the education of 1 child for an entire year. We're going to cover the tuition for a child's education for a year, and also provide a beekeeping farm for a family in Kenya to supply their village and also to support an income for their families. So it is the website sales intensive. You go to websitesalesintensive.com. We're going to show you how to generate great leads. We're going to show you how to engage those leads in a way that will literally stand you out from the crowd. Going to show you how to actually walk people through a sales process that allows them to invest in your products or services. And we're going to develop a plan where some people who attend this event are going to generate clients in a matter of hours. So if you're looking to change up the way that you engage the market and set yourself apart from the Me Too's, and more importantly, open the door to generating high value converted sales, then if you go to websitesalesintensive.com, purchase the web event for good, you'll be invited into a private messenger group with me. You'll also have access to a membership area. There's also training in there right now. There's also some tools that you can use to go and generate clients even before the actual event. So with that, if you come to the websitesalesintensive.com, feel free to just jump on in. As I said, you have access to a private members portal. You all have access to some training. All the slides, all the recordings from the day are going to be placed into that area. And we've got some amazing resources that we're going to be providing you with that particular event.